Brijesh, this big question about nativizing your names and trying to nativize your identity, nativize your culture. But India, though they say it's a colonial hangover, if a lot of people don't understand is that when Sindh became Ind when it moved to Iranians, and from there to Europe it became India, and then the Portuguese and the French took the Spanish were all trying to find this country quite well, and then there's a letter that is written to one of the princes of India by the Pope himself, in which he calls the country as Ind as well. So it's been there for quite some time as India itself, but then anglicized to India, and then we continue with that legacy. Nehru keeps that name there, and now going to Bharat, what does it mean? I mean, is it throwing away a colonial hangover, or is it, just trying to say that you're just reasserting your identity, that's it?
I honestly don't know whether you want to throw away your colonial hangover with the usage of the word India and removing it India, because as Mr. Kochetil was saying that Calcutta becomes Kolkata, or Madras became Chennai, or Bombay becomes Mumbai. There were a lot of struggle for it. There were resolution passed, and then it was done. It didn't came as a sneak surprise that one fine morning, you saw a letter which changed everything, the name from Kolkata to Calcutta to Kolkata, or from Madras to Chennai. Naming, changing of name and all is not going to bother me that much. But the point is that that there is a political bloc which has emerged, which is called India. So the timing of the change, does point to a fact that how does one react to that? Because you say that Bharat is understandable is like saying that Hindi is the national language of the country, which is not. So if there's a linguistic diversity, when you write a name in Kerala, that is all right, because that's for the people of Kerala. It doesn't concern somebody who's living in a state of Uttar Pradesh. But when we change the name of the country and all, it concerns everybody. And you have to also factor in the linguistic diversity. So there's a whole host of regions. Change of name is like, I understand, Mr. Kochetil comes from a particular ideology, so he has to do that. But I think, it has raised a very valid questions. There's no denying about that.
So, because senior advocate in the Supreme Court, Mr. K.V. Dhananjay, was also saying there is a technicality. It's not that overnight you just can go ahead, and there's a technicality that you have to change it.
But go by the book. Just before G20, there's an invite which went out which says, the President of Bharat. So it's a complete departure from past. So are we trying to say that the next president which comes can again start using India and in the invites? It's not a personal invite. It's an official invite. The President of India is not doing anything which is personal. It represents the continuity of the. It's not like any Prime Minister can come and completely undo what has been done by his predecessors. There's a method. There's a mechanism. So if the President of India represents India, it's not like he or she is sending out an invite in a personal capacity. So you have to follow that thing. That was what I meant to say.
Well, Mr. K.V. Dhananjay, who is also an advocate in the Supreme Court. Mr. Dhananjay, how do you see this? Is it more about trying to counter the India alliance? Because India tends to be, the I.N.D.I.A alliance is something that has taken over the name India. So they decided, okay, fine, let's give them a run for their money. So let's slowly start using Bharat so that you dissociate India from the India alliance completely.
If that should be the theory, then it's even more disturbing. I did call it as disturbing. Of course, I stand corrected. I wrongly use the word he. It's she, Srimati Draupadi Murmu. The RSS president, RSS functionary says, we will do it in this manner. And you have the president of India saying, okay, I'm doing it in this manner. What kind of independence is the president demonstrating to the people of this country? And by the way, Chennai is Chennai, but then the High Court of Madras has not become the High Court of Chennai, because we don't follow the Hindu law. We don't follow Yajnavalkya. We don't follow Manusmriti in this country. We follow the law laid down first by the English judges for well over a century, and then followed over by our system. We've adopted it. So the High Court of Madras did not become High Court of Chennai. The High Court of Bombay continues to be High Court of Bombay. It's not High Court of Mumbai. High Court of Calcutta continues to be High Court of Calcutta. It is not High Court of Kolkata. So if for political purposes we want to go back to our old names, we find that as a legal instruments and the legal heritage, somehow we have a problem with going back to these old names. High Court of Madras continues to be High Court of Madras because we've built a heritage in a certain way. And that is a heritage that we want to preserve. It's not Manusmriti that we want to preserve. So this whole concept of let's change names. Okay, let's not worry about potholes in Bengaluru. Let's call Bengaluru as Bengaluru and so on and so forth. This is political at the most, and I don't have a problem with India becoming Bharat. But for that, we need a standard, there is a standard manner of amending the constitution. And the president, who is a custodian of the constitution, is meant to be mindful of that. And the president cannot just one fine morning decide that I've had enough of India. I will now have Bharat because you have BJP and then the RSS wanting India to be gone and then Bharat to be brought in. You have their sympathizers and intellectuals also writing books and saying India is not good. We will have Bharat. So let me have Bharat. Now, for the president to do what she did is, of course, disturbing. And it's even more disturbing because it coincides with what the political party in power wants. And we have to, at some level understand that malnutrition in this country is something the prime minister should be talking about. The BJP should be talking about malnutrition. We don't find them talking about malnutrition. We don't find them talking about something worthwhile. People are dying on potholes in Bengaluru. And we are not talking about that. We are not talking about water scarcity. We are not talking about 100 issues that we have miserably failed in solving. And we want this change of name. We want to go to this glorious past. What glorious past are we talking about? It's a past that exists in the imagination of so many of these intellectuals that are aligned with the ruling BJP. And, they don't even seem to have a proper understanding of the past. The past is not something that we should always go back to. It's enough if we, in fact, solve the current problems of the day. And if we should go back to the past, there is a manner in doing so. Please follow that. I have absolutely no problem in India becoming Bharat. But for that to happen, you know how laborious the procedure is. And why did we short circuit that? And more so, why did the president short circuit that? How are you going to trust this president to deal with a hypothetical scenario of, let's say, the 2024 election to the Lok Sabha throws out a hung assembly? How is she going to deal with that? She is today unable to show independence from the ruling political party. How do you trust her to, in fact, exhibit independence when you have a trying and a testing scenario? G20 is a worst possible time to have done this. Had it been just a formal dinner or something for all the political parties and then the president did something of this manner, it's different. But G20 is not the place for this.
G20 is not the place for Suresh Kuchatal. Do you agree with that? G20 was not the place for actually executing this kind of a change. There is a procedure. There should have been a laid out procedure that should have been taken care of. It's saying that laid out procedure was not taken care of, and that is why question needs to be asked on that action. Do you agree with that?
Has India changed the name to Bharat officially? No. In the constitution, is there a provision to call Bharat? Yes. Now, I find it very strange that, when you talk of anything to do with Bharat or anything to do with, we are told, don't go back to the past. The Jews need to be told, don't look at the past. Forget what happened in Auschwitz. It was all a party. We all had fun. Is that what you learn from history? I find it very strange that these people who talk about ancestors, millions who were killed by the Islamic invaders. Don't you want to talk about it? I find it very strange in this intellectual leftist ideology. Okay, you might call me a rightist, you might call me a sympathizer of BJP, so be it. But what I'm trying to say is that we are a proud Bharati. In our national anthem, where is the word India? I want to ask that. Where is the word India in our national anthem? Why is it we didn't substitute Bharat in that with India? We didn't. Because there is a kind of system that we follow, that we call ourselves as Bharat. Yes, I agree with you. If there's a name change, it has to be done officially. But the president has not done anything wrong. And the president of India knows better than you and me sitting here. And I think it is wrong to drag the office of the president of India into a news debate and call her names. I think it's a wrong thing to do. It is just not done. Keep the president out of it. She must have consulted the law ministry. She must have consulted the legal counsel before sending an invite. She doesn't sit there and print the invite. It is vetted by a process. And definitely, RSS chief spoke about it, so she is representative of RSS. I find it ridiculous. We have Owaisi talking various things which KCR says yes. So we say that Owaisi is running KCR's government. No, it's a different thing altogether. That's what I'm trying to say. As a nation, we are never proud of our past. We don't like to be called, we don't like to be going back to Ramayana because the Congress says Rama didn't exist. Affidavit in the court, Supreme Court. So what are we trying to do? We are trying to say that our past didn't exist, but look at every other nation, including Japan, which got bombed. They all remember their past. They all remember it. Germany remembers it. Israel remembers it. US remembers it. Everybody remembers their past. Because the moment you give away your past, you are giving away your history. I'm not saying that overnight change India to Bharat. Okay, I agree with you. Bombay High Court still is Bombay High Court. IIT Madras, IIT Bombay. I agree with you on all those points. But the point is, why didn't you criticize the Tamil Nadu government or the Tamil Nadu politicians for changing the name to Chennai? Why were you quiet then? Yes, resolutions required to be passed. We will pass it. But the constitution doesn't prohibit you from using the word Bharat. It is there in the constitution. And this is exactly what we need to use. But we feel to be very shy about it. You know, when it comes to only the Hindutva elements, as they call it, as Udayanidhi Stalin calls it, kill the Hindutvas, kill the Sanatana Dharmas. And he says it applies to all religions. Does Sanatana Dharma apply to Islam? I find it very strange. Does the Sanatana Dharma apply to Christianity? And he's saying, I'm talking about caste in all religions. Excuse me, I think he's either not read the constitution or he doesn't know what the system of caste in India is all about. I mean, I'm keeping Udayanidhi out of this, but coming to the president, I think the president has every right, in my opinion, to invite the person as long as she doesn't change her name, doesn't change the country's name as it exists in our constitution. We,
Well,
the
also
people
we have-
of
we have-
India,
we have-
yes.
But hasn't she changed the name of the country, Mr. Kochetil?
No,
I mean,
she
like,
has
you know,
not.
2 months.
Does the
Are you trying to say, Mr. Kochetil, just hear me out, please. I heard you patiently. I didn't interjected you. Are you trying to say that the president is at will to use Bharat in India whenever she feels like, she or he or whatever, whenever she feels like? I mean, you can interchange the country's name. So like,
Where did she interchange the country's name? Is
but
Bharat
she's
not a
like
country's name?
Republic,
What
president
does
of
Article
Bharat.
1 say? Hindi, Bharat, English, India. Please go and read it.
No,
It's there. She hasn't changed the name of the country.
Can we have that
She knows what
invite
she is
on
doing.
display?
written, you know, that English India, Hindi Bharat. And why was, if this was the case, then why wasn't it used earlier?
That's a good
the
question.
most authoritative
Lot of things
copy
were
would
not
be
done
English,
earlier.
it's not Hindi.
Lot of things were not done earlier. Was Kolkata existing earlier? Yes. Only when
No,
the
I mean,
resolution
see,
was passed.
when you talk about Kolkata, you know, the name change has a process. Name change is a process. You know, it doesn't get changed,
Yes,
Mr.
yes,
Kochetil,
yes, I
just
agree
like
with
that.
you.
You know, I would completely
I agree
understand that, you know, if there is a session in parliament or if the government takes a formal decision, that's absolutely all right. But the point is that, no, have you ever seen, are you trying to say the Bombay was changed into Mumbai like this? Or Chennai
Did I
was
say
changed
that?
into
What I'm trying
Madras
to
was
say, there
changed
is a
into Chennai like
process.
this?
There's no need to change the name. The name exists in the constitution. Article 1 says Bharat.
The
Who
Article
put that
1 doesn't
name
say
there?
Bharat, sir. The Article 1 says India, that is Bharat. So I'm saying that
No,
why wasn't the president
you read,
using it before?
You read the interpretation.
Why wasn't the
in
president
that.
using it before? Why was everyone
Yeah.
using?
See, that's
Why
the
is your
question.
passport says Republic of India?
Yeah, so tomorrow it can be changed. Isn't it? Did many countries change
no,
their
change
names?
it, but make it official first, na? Are you going to
Exactly.
change it just
Do
like
it.
that?
Do it. I'm saying do it. Run the
All right.
process through.
All
Right
right,
now,
all
there's
right.
no
We
such-
have some reactions coming in. Yes, Mr.
Fine, talk.
Kochetil, we have some reactions coming in to this story. Let's listen into that.
हमें नहीं पता था कि भाजपा वाले इतने कमजोर लोग हैं, इतनी जल्दी परेशान हो गए। अभी तो चंद हफ्ते हुए हैं इंडिया नाम के इस गठबंधन को बने हुए, और आप खिलवाड़ करना आपने शुरू कर दिया। इनविटेशन भेजे जा रहे हैं, रिपब्लिक ऑफ इंडिया की जगह रिपब्लिक ऑफ भारत। साहब, आर्टिकल 1 में बड़ा क्लियर पोजीशन है, इंडिया दैट इज भारत। और अगर आप हमसे डर करके, इस गठबंधन से डर करके, तो उसकी टैगलाइन पढ़ लीजिएगा। नीचे इंडिया के नीचे टैगलाइन है, जुड़ेगा भारत, जीतेगा इंडिया। क्या क्या ले लोगे? इतनी परेशानी? कम से कम इस बात को स्मरण करिए कि बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर ने ये व्यवस्थाएं की थी। आप माला उनको पहनाते हैं, लेकिन अंतर्मन में बाबा साहब नहीं है। इसका प्रतिकार होगा। ना आप इंडिया हमसे ले पाओगे, ना भारत ले पाओगे। आपके हाथ में जो वो चीजें हैं ना, अभी मेजॉरिटी के कारण वो सब छीन ली जाएंगी, और यही आवाम करेगी जिसे इंडिया से भी प्यार है और भारत से भी मोहब्बत है।
देखिए, मैं ये अभियान नहीं चला रहा हूँ, सारा देश ये चाहता है। तमाम कोनों से ये मांग आ रही है, और हमारे सम्मानीय राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ के सरसंघ चालक जी ने भी भारत शब्द के लिए उन्होंने अपील किया है कि देश के लोगों को भारत शब्द बोलना चाहिए, दूसरा कोई शब्द नहीं बोलना चाहिए। भारत, इस देश का जो नाम है वो भारत है, दूसरा कोई नाम नहीं। और दूसरे, भारत में जो भारत शब्द में जो जज्बा है, जो भारत एक प्राणवान है, उससे हमको ऊर्जा मिलती है। एक श्रद्धा का भाव हमारा प्रकट होता है, वो इंडिया में दूर दूर तक नहीं है।
अरे भैया मत बोलो, नाराज जाएंगे मोदी जी। उन्हीं तो रखा था मेक इन इंडिया, स्किल इंडिया, खेलो इंडिया, ये सब तो नारे थे। हाँ, एक अशुभ था, राइजिंग इंडिया जब कहा था, उस चुनाव में भाजपा बुरी तरह हारी थी। तो ये इंडिया शब्द से जो इनको एक अजीब सा डर, भय सहम गए हैं, क्या ये इस हद तक चले जाएंगे कि संविधान बदल देंगे? संविधान में लिखा है इंडिया दैट इज ए भारत। तो इंडिया और भारत तो भीमराव अंबेडकर, हमारे पूर्वजों, भारत की लोकसभा, राज्यसभा द्वारा पारित संविधान में शब्द है, इसे कैसे हटाओगे? इतना डर अच्छा नहीं होता बच्चे।
चंद्रमा पे जो मिशन गया वो किस एजेंसी ने भेजा जिसको लेके हम सब वाह वाह कर रहे हैं? इसरो में वो आई क्या है? इंडिया।